Hello, hello, hello. Today I am going to be streaming something. Sorry, I was just getting some feedback for myself. Today I'm going to be live streaming just an idea I've been mulling over in my head. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, um, or if it's even anything anybody might be interested in seeing followed through. Um, but this is going to be developing a new concept for the KDE. Excuse me. A new concept for the KDE website. Nobody asked for it. I've never mentioned it. This is just something I've been mulling around. I was originally going to be streaming game development, things like animation, but I'm going to be making some changes to the work that I'm doing on this stuff, uh, and a little bit of polishing up. So, the work on this stuff is going to be another day. But today I'm going to uh, be looking at just some ideas for the kde.org website. I've already just set up, the new empty blank HTML. I threw my style tag in here, and you're actually going to see how I personally develop for the web, for better or worse. So we have KDE. So this is what our new website concept looks like so far. Blank page, super exciting. I'm going to be ripping a lot of things off of my own website, just a few libraries that I've written in the past, and I'll show more about them. We have plugins. No. We want themes, KB design, and vendor. No, we don't want the glyph. We want, maybe it's in JavaScript. Yeah, the parallax library. Luckily, I used to have to bundle this parallax helper library for Firefox, but credit where credit is due. They have their stuff together these days. And you can actually scroll parallax websites without Firefox just absolutely going into chaos and lag and everything out of sync. So let's see, what else, what other assets do I need real quick here? Probably not a lot. So this design is going to be somewhat similar to my own website, where as you scroll down, this header bar area shrinks and becomes more of a proper navigation bar. It doesn't do this for every page. Most pages, it just reverts back to the more standard header. But on a home page, instead of being a big, kind of business card type shape, I'm going to play with a few ideas. So specifically, what I'm looking at is, oh, there's my YouTube thumbnails. Let's just dump these into pictures real quick. I'm trying to keep somewhat more organized these days. I believe it's going to be in storage, and I have archives. Just look for anything that's an SVG, because that's probably where I put it. So this is the idea that I've been kind of mulling about, is, and I'm just going to be targeting this section. I have like other ideas and things, but just to play with it and have a little bit of fun. So the basics of this design include the collapsing kind of home area. This middle section would likely be some sort of a like a shifting card sort of thing. So we might have like multiple things in a slideshow here. the standard links going across the top, a toggle for light dark mode, and a toggle for language. And just to drive home that it's the language toggle, it would say welcome in a number of languages, and I'd have this rotating slowly so that we could have every language be represented at some point randomly. And I'm going to turn my phone into do not disturb mode, just so that we are not disturbed. Turn on. There we go. So this is the target kind of mock-up that I've done. So the very first thing that I do in any sort of web development is I just kind of start by putting the main things that you need into the actual HTML itself. And in terms of accessibility, one thing you're going to see me do is you're going to see me write a lot of HTML first, and then I'm going to try to wrangle that HTML with CSS afterwards. This is because ideally, when you have a website, so if we disable CSS Firefox plugin, CSS toggler. I'm just going to get the CSS toggler. There we go. Okay. So if we go to something like kde.org and we turn off the CSS, let's just see what happens here. So this is what you would actually see with no styling applied to the website. So we have skipped content, home, products, development, so all these sorts of things. And where this is really important in terms of accessibility is this is essentially what somebody with a vision impairment or is blind, like having a screen reader, would actually, it's closer to what they would quote unquote see. They would have like a list of things, they would cycle through that list. So if they wanted to find out certain information, or they wanted to go to a website, they'd have to let their screen reader just kind of work through things. And I believe there's commands and such where you can step back and forth. But the general rule of thumb is if your website can be understandable without CSS, then you've done well. Now, with SVG becoming part of the web, a lot of these images would also be gone as well. So let's see, can we do image toggler maybe? Firefox, disable images. Image block X, disabling. Okay, so yeah, nothing really like that. Bit of a weird extension to have. But yeah, so that's what it looks like without CSS. So the very first thing I'm going to do is write what we'd like to see, or what we'd like to kind of have a screen reader say without any CSS first. So we'd have the header. The header would be repeated on every single page. So, and because of the wonders of HTML5, I speak about the wonders of HTML5 like it's a big deal, but I started web development like when Internet Explorer 6 was the cool new thing. So that should give a real reference for the era that I'm coming from. So having like semantic tags is really nice to me. More coffee. I'm going to be drinking a lot of this stuff. All right, so we have just a link. We'll copy and paste a few of them. So this navigation is going to roughly mirror the one that we have up top here. So we have KDE, products, development, get involved, donate. So we'll name them appropriately. KDE, products, get involved, donate. And was there anything else? No, okay. Now, a lot of these also have subsections, so we're going to put them into a list. So we're going to go, it's an unordered list, list item slash list item slash unordered list. We'll copy and paste this a few times. So KDE itself is going to get a list item. Then we have products, get involved, and donate. Okay. And eventually what would happen is if this is starting to be dynamically generated, then this one might have to have a special input in. So let's say this is going to be done up in WordPress. This might have to have a special setting for what glyph would show up here, because we don't want it to say KDE. We want it to have the Kgear logo. So that'll be swapped out on the fly via CSS, but for screen reader purposes, KDE is what it would read. So then we have products, and I'm just going to insert I'm just going to insert just some random stuff. Maybe we'll do some broad brush categories. So unordered list slash list. What's the difference between an unordered list and an ordered list? Ordered lists are numbered, but with screen readers, it will read the number first. So unordered lists, depending on the reader, I believe it would say that it's entering some sort of list. I can't recall, but it's not going to read off individual numbers. So we'll just say products, Plasma Desktop. We're just going to hit the broad brush. Applications and devices. Not that these would ever actually be the final navigational elements, but this is just more to fill out the roster initially. And we'll just format our list a little bit more. Donate, tab, there we go. Get involved. What kind of things does get involved lead you to? So we have contributing. So contribute. We'll say development, organization, and again, I'm just kind of making these up on the fly, and testing. There we go. There's a few just broad brush things we can have. And donate. So we have standard donation. So one-time donation. Let's just click the donate link and see what actually happens. Donate. Where does the money go? Does your money go? And let's do and then maybe we'll do like a member program. Again, these are just placeholders. If we refresh, this is what the site is starting to look like here. And again, I want this site to be very legible with just the HTML, because then that way you know a screen reader is going to do really well on the site. So one of the first things I'm going to kind of see here is h1/h1. I'm going to kick KDE out of the navigation. So now we have a proper header. Excuse me. And then the next thing we're going to have is another navigation/nav. And I'm actually going to, so I'm going to show you guys a resource. It's called html5doctor.com. This is one of my favorite websites. If you're getting into web development and you want to kind of get an idea of what semantic tags are going to be great for what you're looking for. HTML5 Doctor is fantastic. I, even to this day, regularly come to this website because, not that a whole lot of tags are being added at any given time, but it always just gives me kind of a refresher, a reminder of what sort of things are floating around. So you have, these are your header types. These are the sections in your pages. So you have body, article, nav. And if you say click on one, so click on nav, it'll actually say, semantically speaking, what it represents. So navigation for a document, contains links to other documents. Not all groups of links have to be in a nav. So navigation is where you would go to, have the page navigation be. And screen readers on sites that are very semantic could theoretically just go right to navigation elements. We're not really looking for navigation elements. We're just kind of looking for, let's just see, Control F, div, where's div? Div is in the grouping. Probably some form of grouping on this. Div is literally just no special meaning at all. It represents its children. But you can use classling and title to mark it up with semantics. So if we went with a title, then that might be read by a screen reader. So let's just say, instead of, now if we go div/div, and we go title equals page options and language. And of course, when you want to represent an ampersand in HTML, you have to write an amp because the ampersand is a special character in HTML. We're going to make another unordered list /unordered list li /li. Could be done as a form as well, but I'm just going to use a standard list here. Page options and language, list item. We're going to make a button /button. Actually, you know what? It might be an idea to forego the whole list and just have it be buttons, because we can be semantic about it. So we'll say we have a light mode, dark mode toggle, so enable dark mode. And this would be now we're putting a lot of form type elements inside of, sorry, I'm just gonna do that. We have a lot of form type elements in this div. The reason why I will not be using a form tag specifically is because forms are something, semantically speaking, to be filled out. So if you're going to put in a bug report or something like that, you would fill out the form for that. But this isn't actually a form, it just happens to be a lot of interactive components. And if we take a look, so let's see what the HTML5 doctor has to say. So we go to not text level, so we have forms, select, control for selecting amongst a set of options. Okay, so they don't really get into that. Option /option. And this would be English select, and I believe the select, what are the attributes? Another nice thing about HTML5 doc, it'll link you right to the HTML5 spec. Which is labyrinthian. Okay. I can't remember the, I think it might be, I can't remember the semantic thing, but I'll just use title for now. Title equals language selection. And we look at our testing site, enable dark mode, English, and we'll just put Francais, because I know how to spell that language in its mother tongue. Okay. So this would essentially have our headers there. Now that says languages. I would probably have it just be the kind of language icon button, more similar to what I have in the mock-up here. What we might do for this part is, because it would be a lot of text and it wouldn't make a lot of sense to read it, a lot of sense to read it to the person, it would probably just wind up being maybe even JavaScript or an SVG or something like that. Again, I'll have to figure that out later. But again, we want to first and foremost pay attention to the screen reader. So in the header, kind of going back to the design here, we have just this one card. I'm only going to do one card for now because I want to actually get the animated aspect of this up and running during this stream. So we have the header, we have the navigation, we have the div, and next we would have probably, I'm going to put section. No. I can't recall if HTML5 likes you putting sections and headers, but what we could also look at doing. So we have header, nav, page options and languages. Yeah, no, we can get away with section in the header, I think. And again, it's been also a while since I've done a lot of straight up web development. In context, a section is a thematic grouping of content, typically with a header, possibly a footer. So yeah, I might have that slightly backwards. Let's just see if maybe there's another sectional. Main is for the main content of the body itself. Designed to show screen readers and assistive technologies exactly where the main content begins. Yeah, that's what that would help for. So we're not going to use a main because we don't want to mess with screen readers. We want to be really sensitive with that. You know what? I will just go with section. Even though it's a little bit backwards, it's not a total break. So section/section. We'll put img src equals kde logo dot svg. Alt is kde logo. Add a paragraph. And I just came up with the clever wording, a community of people just like you. Again, this is just my own kind of meandering additions. It's absolutely not reflective of what KDE would actually want on a web page. This is just me putting the design together. If I seem a little anxious about making sure that people know this is not the voice of KDE putting content into KDE, it's because, yeah, I have some bad experiences with that. I do not understand what he said. Okay, so we have that. Let's refresh it. There we go. KDE logo. Community of people created. So let's just see. Is there anything else kind of on the existing main header that we really, really care about? Not particularly. I think we're pretty good on that front. The footer would be another thing. And if I were to continue down the line, I think there's a lot of things that I'd want to do much more properly. One thing that I am going to rant and rail against, and and I hate it so much, but there's nothing I can do about it. Is Control F BOOTSTRA. This does not need Bootstrap. I hate Bootstrap. I hate it with a passion. It's just bloated CSS that, you know, is used by super vanilla website. I like Bootstrap is good. If you like Bootstrap and you use Bootstrap, it's good. But you know, when I'm developing something, Bootstrap is the last thing on my mind, because you can write way more efficient CSS without it. In terms of writing CSS today, I'm just going to throw it all in the style tag here, and then you know, if I keep working on this concept, I'll eventually down the line, you know, break it into its own file and do all that stuff. Another thing that I'm not going to be doing on this right now, but I am developing with it in mind, is adaptive sizing. So, you know, if we take a look, you know, the kind of thing where the design will, you know, properly adapt to the width and sizing of the actual pages, responsive design as well. That, I think, just comes with the territory of developing normally these days. I don't really understand why it's so difficult not to do it this way. And I don't know how well the KDE website is doing on this front these days. Let's take a look. See, okay, so yeah, it's properly collapsing things. So another note is we have this button that shows the navigation. And developing with that in mind, it means we're going to have to do one more wrapper. So we have the KDE logo, and then we have this div. And this should actually make our CSS a little bit nicer. And just like the HTML5 doctor said, div just represents its children. It's not anything semantically special. Sorry, I have the hiccups right now. And you see, you know, it makes no difference. So a screen reader could peel through this super easily. So we're going to say div ID equals, and I'm just going to put this as header navigation. I'm probably screwing up the CSS styling. So the CSS styling that I'm going to try to use, and I'm just going to refresh, CSS _hyphen style. Wire dash is preferred. CSS trends with naming, class and ID with underscore. Yeah, it's BEM. That was the name of it. So the double underscore is the BEM methodology, a way of naming classes so it becomes easier to understand. Think in terms of reusable widgets. So yeah, that's so the header is the widget, then this is the component, and then you can like name parts of the component using hyphens. So the underscores are like the big separators. So we might have like let's say so nav class equals header header links. Oops, there we go. So that sort of thing. And then even in the CSS, it makes the CSS a little bit easier to wrangle. I am just going to, no, I'm not going to bother with that. The CSS becomes easier to follow because then you can start just grouping CSS classes and IDs together using these as your guides. It makes things a whole lot easier. I also try to use fewer classes these days. Wait, no, never mind. So now we have another class, page options and language, header, navigation, options. We're going to go header, just options. There we go. header. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And then we got H1. We're going to give this one a class. It's going to be header, title, navigation. Now, I kind of want to give header a class of its own. So we're going to go header class, header, adaptive, and we're going to give this a couple classes. Header, adaptive, header, generic. And then we're going to go header, title, navigation. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and the reason I'm giving header 2 classes is if you take a look at my own site, this is the adaptive header where it grows and collapses as you see there. But then when you go into a link, you just get the smaller generic one. And the big difference with that would be definitely in the realm of just simplifying the active amount of code. So what I might do is create the smaller generic one first, and then the adaptive classes would be overlaid on top, and they would do all the special logic. So go here, adaptive, should see no changes. That's wonderful. So let's start with header title. Now we have one thing that is, you know what, I'm going to change that from an ID to a class. And we're going to go header title. And first thing is text, indent, -1234 px. There we go. And that's going to send the actual contents of this title area flying way off to the left of the screen. So it'll just disappear on us, which is exactly what we want. And then we're going to go header title before. We're going to go content. I'm just going to make it the letter K. Text indent 0. We have to specify text indent again because CSS is cascading, so it'll cascade an attribute down the tree of nodes. So when we're inserting a pseudo node, such as before, that would inherit the text indent property there. This is turning into a small web development lesson. Text indent 0, content, position, absolute, top 0, left 0, width 100%, text align center, and we're going to make this width 50 pixels just for the sake of having a number in there, because it is a header. Headers have the natural they naturally go full width, so we'll go display. They're a block element, inline block, and that should what? Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe that was me being an idiot. Position, relative. There we go. All elements by default have a position of inline, and whenever you're positioning anything, absolutely. So you want it to be, you know, exactly at the top right or top left corner of an element. You have to make sure that the position is set to relative, because it only accounts absolutely to the position of the furthest relative or other absolute element. So if we take a look at this now, we have a 50 pixel wide inline block header with the letter K, which we'll swap out with a an SVG glyph of our logo. The screen reader would still read KDE. It should not read the before, but let's see. HTML5 stop screen reader, just to be sure. Use aria hidden attribute. aria hidden CSS, just to make sure. Aria hidden. Aria hidden equals true. The HTML hidden attribute is role equals presentation and role equals none. We'll remove the semantic meaning of the element while exposing it to content assistive technology. Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, I think aria hidden equals true is what we want. I'll worry about that later. Yeah, I'll worry about that later. I can't even remember if pseudo elements are even counted towards that, so we'll see. So we have the KDE logo. Next thing we want to do is header generic. So header generic is there. And we are going to use my absolute favorite layout system, display it was box. Display box. There we go. And another one of my favorite resources is the oh geez, I'm just blanking out here. HTML5 box. CSS box model. CSS box. And where is the site? I have completely forgotten it. Maybe it's in my bookmarks. I have so many things in my bookmarks. It is crazy. Complete guide to Flexbox. That was it. Display Flex. That's what I was thinking. Kerblah. You can tell it's been a while. Yeah. And flex direction is row. Display flex. Flex direction row. I'm kind of curious why it's not highlighting those in orange, but we'll see. Yeah, there we are. So this will forcefully set everything to display in a row. Now the header itself, I just have my next consideration is in this design that I've made, we'll have like a kind of background splash area. I'd like to keep that in the header and then confine all of this to a single box. I don't like loading up too many unnecessary divs though. So I'm thinking class equals header navigation, put that there because it just represents its children, which is fine. And then we have the section there. That would be the actual content. Header navigation. How do I wish to do this? Because all these things kind of need to be right out in the open, so we're gonna switch this class to header bar or header body. There we go. I'm gonna put this back in here. There we go. Again. And then we have header generic dot header body. There we go. Now, the next thing that we'll see is the KDE logo in this part here is not positioned where we would want it to be. So this, the actual section class equals header display. And what I'm gonna do header display case, we'll go like that, is I'm actually going to comment this out for the moment. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to ignore it. We're going to pretend it's not there, because the first thing we want to do is get the generic header bar ready that would be displayed on most pages. So we take a look at that. I'm just going to indent that there. It's right for the coffin. Okay, so we have that. We're just going to give the header body border solid 2px number 000. That'll just give us a thick black border that we can see, so we can actually see where our header is. So we have flex direction equals row, header body. And we don't actually need header generic, because the header is the widget. Oh, so I guess I can just do that then. But actually, there we go. Getting a little bit organized here. And header header body, header adaptive, header generic. Just how we want to do this, right? I'm going to start with header generic. Position absolute, top 0, height 1px. No, height 0. So this is, there we go, gonna put our header along the top of the page. The element is not actually going to be visible. Position, maybe we'll go fixed. Not that we can see this, but now if we were to scroll up and down, it'll be attached to the top of the page. Next, we're going to go on the header body, we're going to go width, and we're going to go, this would be adaptive, so I'm going to start with some CSS variables. So the pseudo element root is referring to the highest node in the document, and we're going to set a variable. We're going to call it page width for now, and we're going to set it to 1000 pixels. And the great thing about CSS variables is we can have it so that at different screen sizes it'll snap into different nice increments, and this will also help us on the design front as well. So we're gonna go with header title, header body, display body width, variable page width, and that should make it 1200 pixels, which is nice. Okay. Next up, we have our navigation here. So we're going to go header navigation links. And the next thing we want to do to them is we're going to go header navigation links, ul, display, none. There we go. So now we just see our top level things. So eventually when we start moving our mouse around them, we would just show the individual lists. And we're going to go ul class equals header navigation root. And then every sub element is going to be header navigation. I'll just call them pop out. That'll work for now. No, because they're not necessarily going to be guaranteed to be pop out. So header navigation sub, as in sub menu. There we go. And then we'll change up our CSS a little bit. Submenus will not be displayed, but the header navigation route, at least in desktop mode, is going to be header navigation route, display, flex, and we're just going to copy flex direction row. There we go. Then we have that. Next up is we have list style type none. Make sure our hyphens are there and get rid of the dots. Perfect. We're going to go padding 0px, margin 0. We actually don't need px when we're specifying. Oh wait, well, I'm going to do it anyways. You don't need to specify display units when specifying them to be a 0 unit. So, kind of looking, let's padding 0, margin 0. Get rid of that. There we go. So what that star is, that's a bit of a reset, so nothing will have padding or margin by default anymore, which is going to help us lay things out a little bit there. So we have the K. Next, we want to align things along the center. And just remember, because I always kind of get this mixed up a little bit, yeah, it's align items center. That was it. I always get that mixed up. So flex direction row, align items center, and that will nicely align everything down the middle. And then we want our two selectors here to always be on the rightmost side. The catch-22 with that is there's, technically speaking, no normal way to do it. Because with Flexbox, like, you could put something on flex end and it would align to the bottom. You can justify content with space between. We don't want to do that either. I wonder if, I can't remember if an individual item can specify itself to be flex end. Align self. Oh, well, it might. Let's just try. So we want header options, header navigation, dot header options, line self, flex end. I don't think this will work. No, it didn't work. Okay. Yeah, the header body is there. That. So what I'm going to do instead is header navigation links. Header, you know what, we'll just keep this here, but delete the unused CSS. So header navigation links, flex, grow 1. And that will tell the links to grow, which kicks that to the far side. That'll get a little bit interesting when it comes time to actually have this rest at the bottom. But again, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Because yeah, what's going to happen is, like, so this is my website. This is the mock-up. We'd want those to be on the bottom. We want these to be on the top left. So at some point, those are going to have two different positional attributes. I could very likely just set these to be position absolute all the time. That might actually just be the way to do it, actually. So you know what? Let's get rid of that flex grow. Header options. Position absolute. Top. No, we're going to go bottom. Bottom 0, right 0. That'll slam it to the bottom right. But because the header is header body, display flex line item center, position relative, that will not do it. Okay, what's going on there? Position relative, yeah. Then we have that header options. Oh, okay, there's your problem. There we go. Now that's properly aligned. So the one thing I'll have to pay attention to is with these elements here, their alignment could get a little bit wonky if I'm not careful. But let's take a look at the header body. Its position is relative. The header generic is fixed top height 0. This is position relative border, flex direction row. We have that set to page width. Now we're gonna go left. We're gonna do this via Css Calculation. We're gonna go page one. We're gonna go 100 viewport width minus the page width. We're going to divide that by 2. Left, position relative, top 0, height 0. Left, let's just see if that calculation is even being done. So header body, yeah, I did it. I did an oops, invalid property value. Oh, I see. Yeah, that would do it. Calculation. There we go. That looks a little more correct. Yeah, there we go. And that just centers our element without too much difficulty. So specifically what's happening here is 100 VW. VW are special units in CSS. They stand for viewport width. So if you have a 1200 pixel wide window viewport, that is going to give you 0.12 pixels per, it's either 1.2 or 0.12, either way, is what one viewport width unit would look like. And you kind of think about this like a percent value, and that will give you, so like, yeah, that will give you exactly what you want. Then we take our variable page width, which is always going to be the width that we want the center of our page to be, and that's just how that math works. I love CSS Calc. It just makes a lot of operations a little bit easier if you don't mind doing the math. Do I have a Russian spammer in the chat? I'm not sure. I can't understand what they are saying. Do I have 2 Russian spammers in the chat? Let's just, I don't know. But if you're going to be in my chat, please speak in grammatical words, please. All right. So we have this navigation. It's stuck at the top. One thing I'm going to do is body, just so that we can start seeing things. I'm going to set the height to 200 VH. And just like VW is the width of the viewport, VH is the height of the viewport. 200% means you multiply by 2. So we're scrolling up and down. That's still stuck at the top, exactly like we want it to be. So that's wonderful. The next thing I'm going to do is I actually have a lot of CSS that I tend to like to just copy and take wholesale. WordPress content, themes, KV designs. Is it base.css that I tend to put these things in? No, that's what I'm looking at is a bunch of just common variables that I really like using. Hello, Clarice. This is what we're looking for. So, all these wonderful variables. So, this just gives me a lot of variables that I tend to like working with. I'm going to probably be changing these up to a lot of Noto fonts. We have our pre-selected spacing amounts, some pre-readied animation speeds, and again, because these are all in CSS variables, if we wanted to like have an option on the website to like disable an animation speed or something like that, then these can actually be modified even on the fly. A lot of these are going to be changing probably. A lot of these are probably going to be changing, but the thing that I'm really after here is, oh, it's not there. Style. Oh yeah, responsive values too. So you know what? I might just copy those two. So throw these, I'm gonna put them here, tab it up, tab in half. There we go. That's all looking a little more sane now. Yeah, row, column, container width. Yeah, and instead of page width, we have container width. Yeah, okay, there we go. And did I get rid of? Yeah, so page width, that goes. And so now we should see that snap to specific sizes, which is fairly nice. And that just helps make laying things out a little more predictable, because if it's something so fluid, you never know how things are going to jump. Yeah, and there we go. Yeah, okay, so we're started. We have a nice basic start. Feature colors, I'm going to you know what? Let's just we're looking at FC, feature, foreground, background. You know what? We're not gonna bother with I'm going to pump that into another root element. And we're going to go with start settings, system settings. I'm just gonna take a look, and I kind of want the naming conventions to match a little more with what KDE actually uses internally. So let's just edit this. So we have the view background, the window background. I'm gonna call it the I'm gonna call this the title bar background. So BACKGROUND. And we also I am going to shorten it just a bit there. And we're going to go number FC. The title bar is the name of the widget. And then we'll have title bar foreground. And what's the text color on that? This is technically, we're working with Breeze Light, quote unquote, but I'm on Breeze Dark. We're going to start this on the light scheme. This would be adaptive. We're not going to see any changes yet because, hey. So we're going to go header body. Yeah. And we're going to go box shadow. So the first value is the X offset. The second value is the Y offset. The third value is the blur, so I'm going to make it a nice big blur value, 10px, and then we're going to go RGBA. That's red, green, blue, alpha. We're going to go no red, no green, no blue, but we're going to go about 60% on the alpha, and we should get a nice... Helps when you use semicolons. There we go. Now we have a nice drop shadow. We're going to make this a little bit border radius or px, but we're not going to use that directly. We're going to go radii card. And border radius var radii card. And that will give us our wide thing. We're going to get rid of our border. We're going to go background color. And we're going to shove in title bar background. And we're also going to make the top offset display flex. We're going to go margin top. And we're going to use a space. We're going to use small spacing. And this is just kind of like any generic spacing unit when I need to pad things arbitrarily. And by using those, you tend to get nice, solid results. There we are. So we have a nice little floating navigation where... So we've already kind of met this sort of style here. I'm going to bump up the corner radii. So we're going to go 8, 4, 2, just for the giggles of it. Maybe not 8, that's a lot. We'll go 6, 3, and we'll go 1.5. Okay, that's a little more reasonable. Next, we want to get the KDE logo in there. Just trying to think of how I want to do this. Do I want to try to put the SVG right in there, or sorry, please bear with me. We'll just keep that K in there for the moment. So let's take a look at header navigation route. We always know it's going to be followed by LIs. So header navigation route LI plus LI. Actually, yeah, no, we're going to do it that way. Margin left. Do we want to use margins or padding? How does, yeah, no, we want that. So we're going to use padding. Padding left. And we're going to use space medium probably for that. That sounds reasonable for now. We can always come back later and change that. Where'd we go? Padding left, var space. And we'll do that with padding right too. But we'll just make it padding. We're going to go small. So when you have the combined padding elements, you have top left and bottom right. There we go. And now we have a bit of halfway decent spacing. How close are we to our... Yeah, okay. And CSS font upper case. Text transform, that was the name of it. Text transform undercase. I'll just rip that right off of there. Text transform uppercase. There we are. I have Node.js installed on my system. I might just use that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to specify a height for everything, because we need all of this to actually be properly aligned. We don't want to use align item center here anymore. So we're going to go header body. And that should do any immediate children, and we're going to go height, caps lock, height, and just to see if it plays nicely, let's just make everything nice and tall. There we go. Yeah. And we're actually going to want to set that to maybe something like 3 rem. Yeah. And with that consistent height size, we're going to see, we're going to be able to position things more reliably. Now, in terms of our actual code, we have header body. So the H1 itself, the header navigation links itself, and the header options itself are going to have that sizing. So I believe it's actually somewhat trivial to just do more flex. I love the flex box. Flex direction row, align items, center. And everything is there. That K is not going to be properly aligned because it is positioned absolutely. So when we go to this, top left width height, we go line height, 3 rem, and that'll align that there. REM units are just the root font size, EM being the font size. EM is the, I can't recall if it's the width or the height of the letter M in your font. But now that we're starting to get into aspects of the layout itself, one thing that we should do is we have root. We're going to go font text, root, star body height, font family, var, font text. This should break things, I think. Oh no, okay, it kind of worked. So we changed the font, and then we want the font size. This is going to shuffle things around a little bit. We're going to go font size medium. Where'd our things go? Okay. Font size, var, font size medium. There we go. And that might actually be... I'm going to bump these into the root. There we go. And that just makes sure that everything kind of adjusts itself according to the font. So if we increase the font size, then it will also increase things like the padding and such, which will make the site more easily responsive if we want to have, for example, a touch mode. So that might be a third toggle that we add. So you'd have, language, maybe night mode, and then maybe let's just let's add one into the mockup just for the funsies. So we have U, Control C, Control V. There we go. And if I recall correctly, I have in my themes include, nope, vendor, glyph, cleaned SVGs. I think I have a fingerprint in here just on hand. Here we are, symbol fingerprint. Okay, there we are. I know KD has one. I just had that folder open. So like that might be the touch mode toggle now. And we might, change the styling of these toggles to not be terrible, but there we are. We have like the idea of a touch mode toggle. And so that would increase the font size a bit. It might increase the amount of padding a bit and just do all that stuff for us. Okay, so header generic. And one thing that's also important to mention is touch mode and portrait screens are not the same thing anymore. This is really, really super important for people to understand. Like if you can detect touch, so you might do that via JavaScript. I don't know if there's any sort of CSS environment variables. I know Apple definitely has one, but it's non-standard. But yeah, if because you might even have, say, for example, a Chromebook with an extremely low resolution, and that can actually bump things into touch mode sometimes, especially if the Chromebook has a touch screen. Then it might say, okay, I want to be touch, and you'll get this device that needs the more compact mouse and keyboard design, but is inflating everything, and it makes it all harder to read. So that is that. So going back here, we have our header bar, we have scrolling. Let's just, in the main, lipsum text. Lipsum orim text. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. And this is just p/p. I should have done that in the first place, so let's just boop, there. Close that, refresh, and just have a little bit in the background so we can verify that our scrolling is working. Okay, products, get involved, donate. href equals hashtag or pound, just to make sure we get the colors on there. href equals hashtag. We're just aiming for the design. Oh, that didn't take. Why didn't it? Ah, yes, okay. So here is the problem here. Header title. Before, we want header title A, header title A before. There we go. But now that has its own margin properties, if I recall correctly. Line height is 3 pixels. This no, margin 0, no. What is H1 doing differently? That is bumping down there. It's slightly offset. That should be, oh, okay, yeah. So we have H1 vertical, align, bottom. Top, will top work? Or do I actually have to go H1 body, vertical, align, top? No, okay. It's a mystery I'll solve later. But either way, the KDE icon is getting its link. So we have our dark mode toggle, our English. And I'm just going to strip some more things wholesale from my own website. Cookie, touch swipe, night mode. Yeah, that'll work. Split. Vendor. Yeah, we'll just throw that in there. That's a jQuery thing, so KV design, JS. We're going to toss in, where's jQuery? Oh, WordPress takes care of jQuery. I'm going to have to download that. Oh, darn. We'll worry about night mode later, though. Let's get the basic design. So this is the basic design aimed for, but first we're doing it just as the static. So let's make this actually stand out now. So we have all of our variables here. We're going to add our section text, and this will screw things up wonderfully. There we go. Perfect. But we're going to go header. I'm going to rename it from header adaptive to header splash, because that's really what this header is. Dot header splash, boop, boop. And where header generic had a top and a height of 0, we're going to make the height 100 vertical VH. There we go. And we're going to go height 100 VH instead of just saying 100 VH. There we go. And header height 100 VH. Position relative. Yeah, that should force the content to bump down now. There we go. We're going to set, let's pull a background image now. We have all of these. I'll pick one. No, we're going to go to home, pictures, no, not wallpapers. Storage, where's my storage? There's my storage. Archive. Wavy McWallpaper face. I'm going to pick just a 700 kilobytes. That's a bit rough, but we'll work with it. So we'll go to localhost, KDE, create new folder, media, just for now. And we're going to do it, I'm just going to name it wallpaper. And then header splash, background, image, URL slash, I think I put it under media slash wallpaper.jpg. And then background, position, center, background, size, cover. Now let's just see. Okay, can't find it. Do I have to put, oh yeah, that'd be why. That extra slash is killing me. There we go. That's a little more what we expect. And as the viewport changes in size, we'll do that. Do we want a blurry version of that? We might just want a blurry version of that. Or what we could do, so this is going to be a fun one. Let's go to header, body, background color, title bar. Okay, we're going to need, what's the RGB values on this? HSV, no, we want RGB 252. RGBA 252, 252, 252, 0.6. So that will make the background semi-transparent there. I'm going to make it just more transparent so that we can see the effect that I'm going for. I can't remember the exact CSS filters. I can't remember the exact syntax for it, so let's just see. Filter, blur, brightness. We're going to go filter, blur. There we are. And filter, blur, blur, and we actually want to make it something like 20. And we should get a nice incorrect. Yeah, sorry. It was CSS background filters. That was it. Backdrop filter. There we go. Yeah, so it's backdrop filter. That's the syntax. Backdrop filter. There we are. Now the margin top. I'm just trying to think because we have margin top on. Where's the margin? Margin top. That's on header body. Header generic. We're just going to make this top and relative. There we go. That will fill the page. So whenever you land on this page, it will just fill the whole screen. And then as soon as you start scrolling, you'll hit the content. Let's up the, excuse me, we're going to go point 0.8. There we go. And the next thing I need to do, okay, is so header body position, we're actually going to have it be fixed. And header generic position relative. There we are. That is a little bit better. So you can kind of see it has that blur effect going in behind. Modern web browsers should absolutely handle this these days. Background color. I'm just going to bump that back down so we can see it one more time, verify that it's working nicely. There we are. Okay. So foreground, background, font family, yeah, that looks all good to me. Background color, yeah, we're gonna make that 0.75 maybe. Well, that's a good amount. That's a good amount. Next, we want to have a little indicator on whatever section we're currently on. I'm just going to add it to something like get involved just for the sake of having the container somewhere. So we're going to go get involved class equals header active section. There we go. Okay. And we want that to be above there. So header active section. We're going to add another pseudo element after position bottom 0px. You know what? We're going to go -2px actually. And then we're going to say height is 4px, content is empty, but since we have content there, it's going to actually register the element. And background color, I'm just going to make it orange for now. And border radius 2px. Height, width, and we're going to make the width 80% just to see what happens. There we go. Boop. Get involved, inspect. So we want to actually check this. Position, bottom. Oh, wait. And then position absolute. That's what I meant. Oh, there we go. Get involved. Now we have to go header active section. Or do we want to just have... Yeah, we'll just set that to relative for now. There we go. We're getting closer. Bottom, position absolute bottom. We're going to go left 0px. No, we're going to go left 10%. There we are. There we are. So we have a nice indicator. Now we want header navigation route. Header navigation route. And we want the first A elements. So we'll have to do a little bit of drilling. Okay, height 100%. Let's just see what happens. Niente, because the li is already like that, but we don't actually want the li to be like that. So we're going to move the padding. Header options li padding space is going to go into the... Yeah, so this is actually all going to go right into the first active element. There we go. I think we're approaching what we want. Let's just get this color here. Not really a super official color, but better than random orange. Whoop. There we go. And then we have LIA, text, decoration, none, color. What's our primary text color? There we go. Var, foreground. There, starting to look like the design a little bit more. Next step is going to be the height of the actual bar itself. So right now the bar is currently at 3 rem of height, and I'm going to make sure to specify that in the header generic height 3 rem. Yeah, no, that's that'd be header body left top height. There we go. I'm going to need to organize these a little bit later, but header body height 3 rem. Then what we want to do is when we have header splash, we're going to set the top to 10 VH. We're going to set the height to 80 VH. And that is going to make sure that 10% of the top of the screen is left empty, but the remaining 80% is taken up by the card. There we go. And so now we have this nice kind of glassy card going on here. Again, we're getting closer to our design. We're actually adding to it a little bit now because we have some opacity there. I'm going to want to bump up the font size to that a bit. One thing I kind of want to do with this idea, not that it would go anywhere, is I only want there to be 2 or 3 font sizes, and I really want to make sure that they're enforced throughout this design. And one thing, like if this design were to be fleshed out more fully, I would be a bit of a prude with it in a few respects, so I'd be banning the use of Bootstrap because I hate Bootstrap. But if this were to go into WordPress, I'd be pushing the Gutenberg block system really, really hard, and then just making sure that the Gutenberg blocks are styled super appropriately using the variables. And that would make the entire site just beautifully responsive, easily maintainable, and much more flexible overall. That's one thing that I do kind of regret is the KDE website as it is now was made just before Gutenberg really became a thing. And I'm not really sure design-wise how it's being handled, but there's probably a lot more code and fiddling than anybody really wants. So with this, I'm going to make these a bit smaller. So we have width 80% height for, so this is the little indicator. So the left side, we're going to go calc 10% minus a variable that is going to be divided by 2. And we're going to go space small. And then when we have the width, it's going to be another calc. Calc 80% plus, no, minus plus. I think I'm on crack right now. we're just going to go -1 rem. We're going to get rid of the variables. And -2 rem. There we go. And that just makes that little spacer just a little bit smaller. And just to see what happens when it's put on the smallest section, so I'm going to put it back on the K where it is here. We're going to find our header active section, header section root, products, class equals header A. There we go. Yeah, so that might be a little bit small. -0.5, -1. There we go. And when I eventually swap that out for the gear logo. So next thing is we have the actual contents of the body of this thing. And the contents are here because the entire section is currently in Flexbox. We're going to need the header display case area to be positioned absolutely. Absolute, but spelled correctly. The top is going to be 3 rem. The bottom is going to be 3 rem. Left 0. Right 0. So why did I pick 3 rem? That's because earlier I set the height of pretty much everything that's going to be in that navigation bar to 3 rem when it's properly collapsed. So by setting it to 3 rem, we know that whatever that section takes, it's not going to overlap with either the top or the bottom. So we'll go back to header display case, and we're going to set a background color, but we're going to spell it correctly. We're going to make it some shade of blue. So we're going to have a little bit of red. We're going to have a lot of blue. And we're going to have just a hair more green. How about? Boop. That's a lot of green. Oh, yeah. Red, green, blue. Not red, green. There we go. That's a pretty blue. So yeah, as you can see, perfectly aligned. The indicator is right on the bottom so that when that collapses into a bar, that little indicator should be on the bottom. Maybe we want it to be just a pixel or two above. Nah, we'll leave it there for now. I actually kind of like that. So, top, bottom, left, right. Now, this blue section should be filling up the area, so let's see why it isn't. We have the header section, header body, and that is the height of it. So we can actually go, instead of top, bottom, left, right, we can go top, height, and we're going to go calc 80 viewport height minus 6 rem. And we add the semicolon. There we go. And then, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work very well. So the idea would be that as soon as we start scrolling down, this section is going to start collapsing in on itself. We're going to have to do a little bit of CSS element wizardry. Maybe we'll see about even using one of the modern HTML masks, because we do want this kind of angled motif still. I think it just looks a lot better than just having, you know, the flat. It looks like a McDonald's hamburger where everything is like mechanically and precisely made, which is always disturbing to me. So we have that, we have that, we have our nice rounded corners. Do we want any sort of outline highlights? Probably not. Just kind of considering all the various things. We could use an SVG on the inside of that, SVG-based backgrounds. But first, let's just get the text color. We're just going to make it FFF. And the idea is that these might be cards of some kind. Text, align, center. We're already inheriting the vertically centered header display case. Text, align, center. Display header case. Oh, yeah, we're gonna go display block. I think it's inheriting flex there. Yes, it was inheriting flex. We might want it to actually re-inherit flex to vertically center. So display, I'm just gonna manually specify it as flex again. Flex, I'm still getting used to the mic right in front of the keyboard. So we have flex direction row. We want flex direction column, and that will sort things vertically. And then flex, is it align? Again, I always get this confused. I'm terrible with this. Flex direction, that was, no, flex wrap, no. Justify content, yeah, that was it. Justify content. Justify content, center. Let's see if I got this backwards. It should be center aligned, slam to the left now. Or just fully center aligned. I'll buy that for $1. And there we are. So I'll need to replace that with a vector logo. But we're edging closer to our design. So I think what I'm going to do at this point here is I'm just going to take a quick 15-minute break. I'm going to make myself another coffee. And then maybe while I'm making that fresh coffee, I will also just gather some more of the assets just from my machine. And we'll just get some more actual art in here. So I will be back shortly, back in 15. Let's just see. Can I lock preview starting soon? I really just need to text be right back on the hour. Okay, I'll be back in a jiffy. See you in about 15-20. Is that a little bit better with audio? I was on mute because I'm an idiot. I am so sorry. So yes, right now, okay, just to play catch up, because I've been muted like an idiot, is I have, this year, it's gonna have a semi-transparent background, but what I am looking for is, once we kind of get past this threshold, I want it to go fully opaque, so that as the site scrolls down, text isn't too isn't bleeding through too much. One thing that I've kind of mentioned before in this stream, this is me playing around. It's not an official thing that is guaranteed to ever happen, but I just kind of want to like revisit the kde.org design, because I quite like it. A lot of people have taken it probably about as far as it can go, but at the time I was kind of middling in a couple things. And there's aspects of the current design that I think I could do better on if I were to take another shot at it. So that's precisely what this is all about here, is just me seeing if I can take the older design and create something new and fun. And I'm kind of basing it a little bit off of my own website's design, and using some of my own libraries that I've developed to do that. So I think, just so that whoops. Yeah, just so that things move along, I'm not going to worry about the opaque background color quite yet. So we have the semi-transparent there. I'm going to kick that back up to 0.75 just so it's visible. We're using a new CSS blur function that is pretty widely supported now. And yeah, we get that nice little blur as things move along. The design that I'm kind of aiming to reach is this one here. We're going to have our language, night mode, touch mode toggles. Touch mode not guaranteed yet, but again, this is just playing. And also we're going to have the just a bunch of welcome words in various languages to show that, hey, there is a language toggle. That's what that is. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Had to mute. There we go. All right. So next I want to figure out how I'm going to get the angles here. I'm just kind of thinking HTML mask SVG. I'm just wondering HTML mask SVG support. Can I use? So we have a lot of middling support here. Now, Internet Explorer, nobody cares about Internet Explorer anymore. IE is pretty much dead. Opera Mini, not supported. That's otherwise fine. I don't really like using prefixes, but it might just make our job easier enough that that maybe, yeah. Yeah, so let's just take a look. I haven't used CSS Masks yet. So let's just see what their spec is. Okay, so we have a bunch of different functions. CSS tricks. The difference between clipping and masking. Masks are images, clips are paths. So we want CSS clipping, actually. You know, just kind of a thought here. Well, that's the color mix. Clips are always vector paths. Outside the path is transparent. Inside the path is opaque. It was like this. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna see what the clip path. Yeah, because we do have this function, so I can use CSS variables in there. Can I use clip path? Let's see what the support looks like. Pretty much the same as clip mask. Partial support refers to supporting shapes and the URL foo syntax for inline SVGs, but not shapes and external SVGs. Okay, that is fine. Because we're just going to inline it right into the function itself. So let's just take a look at the new clip path. Okay, clip path, inset, clip circle, circle 6dpx, clips and polygon. Okay. Okay, CSS clip path. I'm just going to crack open Google Chrome and see what it looks like here. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working pretty fine actually. I'm satisfied with this, so I'm just going to, let's just take this, we're gonna dump it right in. Base.css, take the display case, we're gonna add some padding. The top will be 3 EM and the left right will be 1 EM just for giggles right now. It's only the top and bottom padding. So clip path polygon. We have XY variables here, so we're going to go, let's see, we have this. So the X will be 0, the Y will be 2 EM just to start. Then we're going to go up and left, so we have 0, you know what, I'm going to do 0 px 2 EM. Then we're going to go with X 100%. I'm going to do these in percents actually. 0%, 0%, 2 EM, 100%, 0 EM, and then we're going to go X will be another 100%. And now I wonder if we'll go 100%, 100%. Oh, whoops. I'm going to see if a calc will work right away. Calc 100% minus 2 EM, and then we'll go 0%, 100%. This should... Okay, yeah, we're doing good here. All right. And then we're going to go for this, top, left, right padding, box, sizing, border box, just so that our padding doesn't mess with us. That was easier than I thought it would be. That is working. And what we'll do is at about the 3/4 waypoint, I'm going to have this just outright disappear. So like when you take a look at my own site, it's about the 2/3 point where this just falls into traditional navigation mode. That's going to be the same here. But one thing I would really like to see, I'm just gonna have some fun with this. So we have XY 2 EM. We have calc here 2 EM plus, let's say 100% times parallax coverage y. I just want to see what happens here. Okay, we can have a little more fun with this. So for the clip path, we want 100 times 1 minus okay, this might be fun. So you know, at the beginning, we can actually play with these angles now. This is kind of fun. We can play with this. You know, we don't want to over animate it, but what I'm kind of thinking. So this is obviously going to get to be quite the function. So what you can do is we're going to go top left node y, top left node y, and we're going to make it this horrific beast here. And then we'll take this and we'll go var top left node y. And then we'll go bottom right node y. And this is the function for bottom right node y. And this is borderline programming in CSS at this point. Still works, good. Now, we'll play with this, obviously. We can also use CSS calculations to pull clamping maneuvers. But yeah, we can have that, you know, maybe like spin closed in some way. So we have 100% minus, okay, let's just go 100% minus 2em 100% minus 2em times, sorry, I just have to think about the math here. No, we have 100% minus 2em minus, there we go. This is kind of the interesting result. We'll have to make some adjustments for when it's like finished its clamping at the end. And we can also do some things like use another variable that I have. So if we actually inspect, take a look at our parallax function, we have some things that are like half visible and quarter visible. So we can keep that fully 100% its traditional angle and wait until like we get halfway before we start actually doing this kind of iris close maneuver. Oh, hello, Russian spammer. Remove. I don't get why I'm suddenly having Russian spammers. There we go. I assume Russian because they use the oh, this is going to sound terrible, the squiggly Russian letters. Okay. So we have that kind of closing. What we can also do too, and I don't know if CSS will allow us to, but we can use CSS Transitions. So maybe if we wanted this to just snap close like an iris and not have these halfway states, we can probably consider using a CSS transition. And then we'd want to use, say, for example, let's say half visible. So we have 2em plus 100% minus 2em. We'll put that in brackets. Just we all know BEMDAS or BEDMAS. It depends on whichever one you're using, but brackets, exponents, addition, yeah. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. I still like to put, yeah, so that needs to be in brackets. Multipliers and divisions don't need to be in brackets, but hey. So we have 100%. Maybe what I'll do too is, so we're going to go node offset. And we're just going to make things a little bit easier on ourselves. So node y is going to be just the node offset, so var node offset. And then this is going to be 100% minus var node offset. We need to make sure we have that. So we have 2em var 100% minus. So this should ultimately resolve as some sort of okay, we should be good there. So times 1 minus var parallax f visible. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, okay. Disappears perfectly. And then Css transition. I can't recall the syntax because I'm horrible. Yeah, okay. So I believe it's transition, clip path 0.8 seconds. Let's just see. This should give us like a fairly visible transition, if it works. Okay. There we go. And then what we can do as well, just to make sure we don't have any super glitches. So we can go parallel. Oh no, because the transition clip path. Okay, 0.2 seconds. Let's just. There, that's fun. Yeah, I could have a lot of fun with that. Let's move our variable definitions just to the top. Okay, so we have var top left node y, var bottom left node y, 2em to that, all that stuff. Excellent. Node offset, 100% minus node offset. Next up, we have, so instead of hard coding our transition time, in style.css, we have this lovely chrono slow. We're going to have this transition be slow. So we're going to go CSS var chrono slow. And that should give us a nice slow transition. Next, kind of looking at this, if we go really fast, if we whip down the document, we'll see that that is very clearly visible. So let's see. We want to have it have a min height of 3 pixels. That's the body. That's the display case. Top left height is 100% minus 6 rem. And then, so overflow y. Let's just see what happens there. Oh wait, no, we want overflow hidden. I'll have to remember that, but the simple solution is, you know what, maybe I can just put it in header splash. Yeah, maybe I'll put overflow y, none. CSS overflow y. Yeah, that's the property I'm using. Scroll hidden auto visible. Oh, I'm probably wanting hidden overflow y hidden. Okay. There we go. There we go. So even if we whip it right down, now we're not going to have that animation still playing. So you can scroll. It will very nicely fade back out. Just to check compatibility, let's crack open everyone's favorite privacy nightmare, Chrome. And it works. Even the scrolling is quite nicely smooth, I'll say. Like it takes a half second to catch up. I'm actually a little surprised that Firefox scrolls better than Chrome these days. But yeah, now we can load this with a bunch of slides if we wanted to. They'll have that nice angle clipping. The aperture will nicely close when we hit the page content. You have the KDE logo that can that active indicator can move across. So now we have light and dark mode to come up. That works nicely. For dark mode, we're going to have to include a few things on our HTML page. Oh, and just to kind of go back to what I was saying, if we disable CSS, the page is very readable for screen readers right now. So you can go to that. This div element does have the proper title. What I can do is add titles to every individual part, and that should make screen readers and search results very happy. Let's turn CSS back on. Yet we still have this very professional looking, well, maybe not. Yeah. Very modern style. Man, I might have to steal that for my own site again. One thing that I did is I had these pictures with like overflowing stuff. I don't think I'm gonna do that here just because I have to think about maintainability if this design were to ever gain traction. I have to be very ready for situations where, okay, like people need to update certain pictures or certain images or certain parts very easily. So if I did like a slew of icons flowing around the outside of this thing, then if the icons change, somebody else is going to have to know all the stuff to put that back together. So this is a little more maintainable. There we go. Okay. So let's, I think I have, yeah, so there is all that. KV parallax, copy and paste, KV, yeah, I'm just gonna, feature request for any developers watching this, right click, copy path. That would be fantastic. JS jQuery KV night mode. Now, what was my script here? Night mode toggle. This will already watch to see if you're using a dark mode type thing. Document on update night mode. Cookies.get. Toggle class. KV scheme night. We're probably going to want to change some of those variables, but now that I have the script inside there, let's just see. Oh yeah, there's no built-in toggle yet. So document on click KV night mode toggle. You know what? This should actually just work if I button class KV night mode toggle. Now, when I say just work, I mean the class should pop in. Nothing will actually happen. Okay. Lovely. Nothing is happening at all. View page source. KV night mode. Yep, that is properly hooked in. PX test. What the devil did I write there? PX test. Okay, whatever. Let's just clean that up. Body, add class, KV night transition. So one thing that this night mode script does is it will have a transitional class so that when it's doing a night mode toggle, if you press the button, it will enter into transition mode and allow everything to transition nightly. But if we want to disable transitions, such as the page initially loading and we need to get dark mode turned on as fast as possible, or the opposite mode of your system color turned on as fast as possible, that is where the transition disabling that comes in. So KV night mode. And I believe the CSS that I had for this was literally just taking all elements and putting background color and text color transitions into effect. KV night mode toggle. Let's just go console.log. Let's see if we're even. Hi. Console. Oh, hello. Cookies is not defined. Oh, right. Okay, yep. Yep. Themes, KV design, JavaScript. Where? JS cookie, copy here. That would be why. KV parallax, JS.cookie. Media glyph logo, okay, enable dark mode. Hi! Then, okay, let's inspect. So we don't have night mode? We do have night mode. No night mode? Night mode. Cool beans. So, now instead of KV scheme, because this is the KDE website, we're going to go Control R KV. We're going to just call it KDE place all. I'll probably get rid of this too. Well, that's fine for now. Okay, so KDE night mode. Now, we will go style.css. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Please forgive me. .kde night mode. And we're just going to take this, go here. This is just delightfully informal. I think we're using a slightly warmer color nowadays, with way less saturation. And 32, 28, 28. Okay, we'll just do that. 32, 28, 28, 0.75. And take the color, copy the color, paste the color here. Now we need a foreground color. Take paper white for now. For night mode, I'm actually going to pull the color off of my own website. So night mode toggle. Inspect element. So many colors. Overlay foreground. I'm gonna paste it in here. I think we want a little less saturation. There we go. Okay. Dark mode. Oh, reload. Okay, so let's go KV scheme night, KDE night mode, KDE night mode, HTML toggle class, cookies.get, KV scheme night, Control R. We want, you know what, let's get rid of the prefixes, replace all. HTML toggle class, scheme night, update night mode, cookies get KDE night mode. Okay, I can add it. I can't get rid of it. That's fine for now. So scheme night, style.css, scheme night, reload. There's night mode. There's day mode. Enable night mode. Okay, still need to get the button to actually remove night mode again. HTML toggle class scheme night. Body.add class. KV night cookies.set. Where is the funk coming in? Document window focus, update night mode. That's fine. Night mode equals total class, night mode, cookie setting, undefined Chrome setting. Cookie setting equals 1. Cookie setting is cookies.get kde night mode. Cookies.get. Where is the issue coming in? So we have storage, cookies, kde night, cookies. It's not even setting kde. Oh, I think I have an idea. So jQuery cookies. Okay, it's a mystery to be solved later. HTML.toggle class on update night mode. Night mode equals not night mode. Night mode false, true. Okay, yeah. Night mode is 0 or 1. Okay, you know what? We have our test. It's doing it on focus. So document on okay, on click KV night mode toggle, set KV night mode. Okay. I see the block that needs to go. That's kind of funny. We just want the night mode toggle just for testing. Okay. Document.trigger update night mode. And we'll go trying to use bash style comments. Night mode equals night mode. Night mode equals cookie setting. Chrome cookie setting equals 1. Night mode is either false or true. Let's see what happens. That is super weird. Document on click. KDE night mode toggle. It is called KDE night mode toggle, isn't it? Let's take a look at our KV. Oh, I'm not a total idiot. Don't you love it when that is usually the problem, is just something silly like that? Also, let's switch that. Enable dark mode. Enable light mode. Enable dark mode. Enable light mode. So dark mode is enabled. Go here. It snaps back. Light mode, dark mode, refresh. Okay, everything was working. I just did not have the button toggled properly on. Oh, that is such a terrible, terrible mistake. Okay, and then there we go. Oh, this is the kind of work that I think would make my mama proud of me sometimes. Okay, let's get transitions working. Voy FYI. I actually understand FYI. So I'm not going to immediately assume that you are one of the Russian spammers that has been polluting the chat. I don't understand the urban meaning of voy. Yes, I use the Urban Dictionary. I had a nice voy of the... Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if you're a real human or not, but I'll keep you around because you entertained me. So, night mode transitions. Okay. I'm going to rename that. Select it, Control R. KV night mode transition, replace all. Okay. Copy this. Now if we go to base.css, we're going to go star dot night mode. No, we're going to go dot night mode transition star transition background color. We're going to go, we kind of want it to be a bit on the snappy side, so we're going to go chrono fast. Background color var chrono fast. And then we're going to go color chrono blink. We're going to make this important. There we are. Nice little transition there. And then if we refresh the page, or we go to the page and it's switching from night mode to dark mode, we're not going to get this transition. And one thing that you might have caught is that I put text and background colors on two different transition speeds. That's just, it just helps keep things a little more visible. So, enable dark mode, enable light mode. Cool. That fades away. Then we get our nice little header bar. Next up, spacing. Because we have this, we want a little more spacing. So let's go into, oh, sorry. Excuse me. I'm not sure why, but my esophagus has been acting up today. Maybe it's my body disagreeing with the purely liquid coffee diet. KDE logo. How compressed do we want that to get? I think we're actually pretty good there. So, inspect element. Let's break open our inspector. We're going to go header body. We kind of want things to... We kind of want the title and the navigation links to be padding oriented. I just haven't done the actual header title itself. So we're going to go padding. Top we don't care about because it's automatically aligned center, and we're going to go var space, and I think it's going to be a medium. Medium that we'll want. There we go. So next is going to be these guys here. How does the KDE website do its languages drop down? Is it doing something I haven't learned yet, or is it doing what I expect it to be doing? It's doing what I expect it to be doing. Okay. And I wonder if there's a specific library in use here, or if it's just pure CSS. I might just do it in pure CSS myself. Maybe a little bit of JavaScript. No, because the header is always at the top there. Yeah. Yeah, so... Oh, wait, no, because, yeah, that can be at the bottom. So we'll want it to pop out on the top when it's at the bottom. And then as soon as it has room, we want it to start going down from the top. Yeah. I am having a little bit of fun with this transition. That turned out better than I expected. It is not going to play nice with Opera Mini, but I don't know what their market share is anymore. I could probably look that up, but again, this is more play than anything else. I think a next step is going to be establishing a proper color palette. I'm not really planning on hitting content at this point. I just wanted this, this part here pretty much together. So thinking of languages, we have index.html. We have this section here, the display case section. So now we're going to actually have, let's go to HTML5 Doctor again. Because I don't think that they would be considered articles within that header. Because an article kind of denotes a section of the page that consists of, that forms all independent parts of document, page, or site. Yeah, so like a forum post, a magazine, or a newspaper article. So like that's more of a complete thing. I hate using so many divs. Maybe that is tangentially related to the content on the side, but separate from that content. Such sections are often, we could use an aside. I don't know how that'll hit, I don't know how that'll hit search engines. You know what? We're just gonna use the good old div for the moment. Div / div. And we're probably going to be using a couple divs / div. I hate using divs. I feel like every div is a failure, and I have a lot of divs. So div class equals slideshow. Header slideshow. We're not actually going to be using it as a slideshow right at this very moment. Class equals header slideshow card. And then we're going to call it welcome card, just for the sake of easy styling. Header slideshow welcome card. Yeah. Excuse me. So now we have the display case. Header slideshow welcome card. The display case is not actually going to have a specific background or text color. That's going to be up to the slideshow card, the welcome card. And there we go. Okay. And then we go width 100%, height 100%. Of course, it's not going to work. Position absolute, top 3, left, right. I don't know. Left 0, right. That's not the word, right? Right 0. Top 0. Bottom 0. That'll need to be done more elegantly in the future. Display flex column. Oh, maybe the display is kind of mucking things up. Actually, display flex direction row, justify content center, overflow X hidden. This might be an easier way to make slideshows now that I think about it. Justify content stretch, I believe it would be stretch. Clipping and masking. No, I want complete guide to flexbox. Was it stretch? Justify content. No, it's not justify, it's align items. Line items, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I get those confused so much. Yeah, so that is the vertical alignment. We're in a row. So then, top 3, left, right, 0. Okay. Flex this column. Justify content center. And then we have flex basis. So flex doesn't use width and height traditionally. We have properties for children. Yeah, flex basis defines the default size of an element before the remaining space is distributed. We're going to go flex basis 100%. I think that should not do it, apparently. Okay. One thing we're going to want to do is header display case, ditch the padding. That padding is going to have to fall into the element itself. And then header display case, display flex, top, right, left, width. Is that going to be required? No. Okay. So first let's get this element. Line items, stretch. It should be stretching it vertically. What is my major malfunction? Justify content. Flex center, okay, yeah, no, that's all fine. Align items, stretch. Align content. Line items, stretch, align content. Stretch. I know you can use width and height, so I'm just gonna height 100%, width 100%. That didn't work last time. Why do I think it'll work this time? Because apparently that's how it works. What's scrolling now? Inspect. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And then we need box sizing, border, box. That shouldn't apply there, but I'll keep that there just for the sake of it. And now we have something that could be a slideshow. Now that we have the welcome card, let's apply gradient. CSS gradient generator. I'm just going to be a little bit lazier about this. Okay, we want it, yeah, 138-degree angle. We're going to make that standard purple. You know what, we'll just make it white, black. Yeah, okay. And then I'll manually insert the colors afterwards. Background color. Background, linear gradient. Let's pick them from here. Doop, boo, whoop. Hashtag. Then we take this color, whoop, and we go RGBA, hashtag Now let's see how this is going to transform in unexpected ways. Oh, that actually is somewhat reasonable. Oh, yeah, no, okay. Let's remove these spam messages. Yeah, and then there we go. Light mode, dark mode, cool beans. And then we can have multiple slides. The slide indicator would probably be somewhere around the bottom here. I think we're actually pretty close to the original intention. I might worry about the language and prettying up the actual toggles later, but I think for now, I'd say that this was just a fun little experiment. I'm probably going to start wrapping this up. So just to kind of show what we got, we have a dark mode toggle, an inactive language drop down. I'm going to have that swapped out for probably something done in HTML. It'll probably wind up being a set of links. One thing that will definitely have to be done is, so if we once again disable CSS, we're also being very cognizant of how screen readers will be approaching this site. So yeah, I think this is in a good state. Not that this is where the site would go, but this is just my kind of fun little testing here. So thank you for everyone that tuned in. I appreciate you doing so. Have yourself a lovely afternoon, and thank you for watching. Ta-ta.